Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I just seen some pretty worrisome videos here, and I'll show you these videos. So one is about a new law which make posting on social media. So you just making a post on Twitter, whatever it might be, on X, that is now seen as a public statement. So if you offend anyone just because of your post, any minority who takes it offensively, you can land in jail for up to 3 years. So we see the same sort of thing in the UK, and you see all of these people going to jail for years and years at a time, just for speaking out, for talking against the narrative, for saying mean things online, right? And now the same thing is happening here in Australia as well. The same things happen in Scotland, you know. All of these laws are passing all across the world under our own freaking noses, and no one is reporting it. And this is why I absolutely freaking loathe and hate the mainstream media. They're here supposed to help the people, right? They're supposed to help us understand what's going on, because we don't have enough time through our days to be able to research all the things that they can. But with this great power comes great responsibility, and they have taken none of that responsibility. They have said, look, we're just going to say whatever the government wants us to say, and that'll be the end of it. And this is disgusting, all right? I mean, this is worrisome. I mean, is this going back into your posts back 10 years, 20 years? And remember what people were posting back then. What if someone takes it offensive 20 years ago on your Facebook page? Does that mean you get to go to jail now? This is crazy. Let's have a watch at this. It's actually, yeah, I'm actually baffled by it. But anyway, we'll get into this. Let's have a listen to this about the new law that has been passed.
In Australia's history, ladies and gentlemen, because this week the Respect at Work and Other Matters Amendment Bill 2024 was passed in Queensland Parliament. Well, what does this mean for you? Well, from now on, we're going to have to police our thoughts and our speech very carefully on social media. And here's why. Any post made on social media now is deemed by this bill to be a public act. And any public act found offensive by a reasonable person of the minority community that it describes is then chargeable under Section 52A of the Criminal Code. And these charges carry a maximum sentence of 3 years jail time. So as you can see, it's not hyperbole to say that this bill paves the way for Queensland citizens to serve jail time for social media posts that offend minorities. This bill is the most egregious encroachment of freedom of speech that I have ever seen in Australia. And worse still, this is a piece of legislation that is self-protecting in the sense that to speak out against it is to be in contrast. Well, this is a very dark...
Yeah, so you speak out against it, and yeah, you pretty much be held accountable as well. It's crazy, man. It's actually crazy that this is a actual thing. I want to actually see this. All right, let's have a look. The Respect at Work and Other Matters Amendment Bill has passed. Okay, Respect of Work Bill 2024. Let's have a bit of a look at it, okay? If you live in Queensland, in Australia, take heed right now. Take heed, I tell you. All right, I'll put the link of this, okay? I'll put the link of this in the description below, and we'll be able to read through it. Meaning of a public act. Let's have a look. In this part, public act includes the following conduct: any form of communication, including speaking, writing, displaying notices, playing of recorded material, broadcasting, and communicating through social media and other electronic methods to the public. You're telling me even just broadcasting maybe someone that is saying something, you know, that someone doesn't like, you can be held accountable? Any conduct including actions and gestures, the wearing or display of clothing, signs, flag, emblems, and insignia, observable? I don't know. Observable by the public. Okay.
And any public act found offensive by a reasonable person of the minority community.
Look. Hateful, reveling, serious, contemptuous, or serious ridiculing conducts. This is section 124C. A person must not, because of the age, gender, identity, impairment, race, religion, sex characteristics, or sexual orientation of another person or a group of persons, engage in a public act that a reasonable person would consider hateful towards. Reveling, seriously contemptuous of or seriously ridiculing the other person or member of the group. For subsection 1, reasonable person means a reasonable person who has the same age, gender identity, impairment, race, religion, sex characteristics, or sexual orientation as the other person or member of the group. So you don't even need to be talking to that person. As long as they take it offensively, you are held accountable.
That it describes is then chargeable under Section 52A of the Criminal Code. And these charges carry a maximum sentence of 3 years jail time. So as you can see, it's not hyperbole to say that this bill paves the way for...
Man, where have we gone, eh? Where have we gone? Oh, I miss the good old first days of the internet, eh? Remember the first time on the internet and people could say what they wanted to say. The internet was wild. I mean, you even think back at like gaming lobbies. I don't know if you're a gamer yourself, but playing online games when you're younger, and the things some people said in those lobbies, you know, you cannot repeat nowadays without offending someone and going to jail for up to 3 years at a time. It's insane. So Brendan Karen is turning Australia into a clown show. Anyone with an IQ greater than their shoe size knows that this is bullying and harassment. Disgusting. Let's have a look. So this isn't a public forum, okay? So this is what the local AFL game, so between Greater Western Sydney and Brisbane, which was played on the weekend.
Welcome
to Country is where a local elder from the local mob for Aboriginal people from that land will say a welcome to country, like welcome to my country, blah, blah, blah. And they get paid, I think about $7,500 or something per time. It has now become a big thing in the recent past years. I mean, when I moved to Australia, it was never a thing. Yeah, so you hear from some people that say, you know, this has never happened in the past. Some say it's happened for, you know, thousands of years, as this guy says. So you make up your own mind on it.
Country is not a welcome to Australia. Within Australia, we have many Aboriginal lands, and we refer to our lands as country. So it's always a welcome to the lands you're gathered on. A welcome to country is not a ceremony that we've invented to cater for white people. It's a ceremony we've been doing for 250,000 years plus BC, and the BC stands for before Cook.
Wow, a couple of things to unravel there. So it's not made for white people. Why single out one race? I'm just wondering, because I mean, there's a lot of Asian people, a lot of Indian people that do live in Australia, especially in Sydney. I mean, a lot of people from Lebanon, a lot of different countries around the world that are not white.
Prior to colonisation, you could get yourself into a lot of trouble for walking on someone else's lands without being welcomed onto those lands.
That's nearly like a threat. Like, if you don't get welcome onto a land, you know, you could get in a lot of trouble.
So for me, it's always an honour to perform this ceremony.
That's crazy, man. That's actually crazy. And yeah, Captain Cook, I believe, is the captain of the ship from England or whatever it was. I'm not from Australia, so I don't know the history. But that settled first in Australia. Now let's have a watch here. So from a politician herself, let's hear what she has to say about, you know, them pushing this not for white people narrative back to the James Cook days, all that type of stuff.
People, it's a ceremony, quote, we've been doing for 250,000 years plus BC, and the BC stands for before Cook. Joining us now is Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price, the Shadow Minister for Indigenous Australians. Senator, great to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us. So this individual has said that 250,000 years and before Cook. That's an exact quote. Now, you don't have to be a historian to figure out that that doesn't quite add up, but what's your reaction to those comments?
Look, I'm just a bit over it all, really. I mean, you know, there's a whole lot of reinvention of culture taking place, and it's turning into a bit of fantasy. 250,000 years, I really don't think so. And if that's the case, let's just stop doing them. Let's stop doing them. And if if it's all about dividing people by race and we're supposed to be doing this in this particular way for that or whatever, like it's got beyond ridiculous, and we need to just get back to being Australian again, as far as I'm concerned, where why don't we invent a ceremony that involves all of us together as one country, instead of reinventing stuff that really, I mean, I don't, as a Warrapuri person, I've never done a welcome to country ceremony in my life, and my family have been practicing traditional culture since I've known, since the day I was born, and there's no time at all until very recently that this welcome to country ceremony has reared its head.
Like I said, I mean, I moved to Australia, what's it, like 8 years ago? And same thing, I've never seen this before until probably since past COVID, I think, maybe just after that, so 3-4 years now. Yeah, I've never seen it before that, and she's hit the nail on the head. I think it's just dividing people. Where for some reason every main country is going this way for some reason. That's why I say, I looked at, for example, just small things like many of the laws that have been getting passed in many countries. I mean, in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, blah, blah, blah. Many countries around the world, right? They're all passing the exact same sort of laws. Why? Why is it being passed exactly the same? Why is every country doing the exact same playbook? And it's happening in every other country too, where this dividing by race is happening more and more. Look at, I don't know if you've seen, but in the NFL, they actually sang a African-American anthem after or before the American national anthem. Talk about dividing, right? There's no coming together if everyone has their own anthem and everyone else has their own, performance to do. There's no coming together as one country. And I mean, I moved to Australia, like I said, 8 years ago. And since then, I believe it's just become more and more race hate since I've been here. Since this rhetoric where, white people bad. And like I said, he didn't once say, this ceremony is not made for white, yellow, or, other race people. It's just literally just not for white people. And that's where I think the division is. And that's why you even seen that bill. You can't be offended unless you're a minority. So, unless you're a different sex, unless you're trans, or unless you're whatever it might be, you're not allowed to be offended if you're the majority. That is what these laws say. They even try to change the definition of what racism is. I'll quickly show you. Look how BS this is, man. Seriously. This prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism by an individual, community, or institution against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group, typically one that is a minority or marginalized. See what I mean? How they change the definition of freaking words. Because see that what do people read when they read that? They're going to say you can't actually be racist to people that are not the minority. It's impossible then. If this is what you base everything off, is the Oxford Dictionary, for example, then you technically can't be racist to a majority group. So if you go to Africa, technically you can't be racist to African people. And if you go to Asia, you can't be racist to Asian people, apparently. Where does it stop, man? Like, that is the insanity that I'm talking about. And this is the things that not many people are talking about. Is that this is what the young kids are learning now. And they think, wow. Let's say if you're white and you're from a white country, you think, wow, I'm actually the bad person. Wow, I feel so bad. That's why this new movie that's coming out from Matt Walsh, Am I Racist?, is, I think, such a good thing. He calls out the grifters. He calls out all the people that are making money from making white people feel like they are racist, and they're getting paid money to do it. It's crazy. But I'll end it on that. Let me know what you think below. Yeah, what do you think about that new law? What do you think about this definition? I mean, it's a lot to take in, I think. It's a lot to take in, but, share this with your friends. Like, if they don't believe you, if they don't understand that the tides are turning and it's, you know, pretty much just aiming in one direction, there's no unity. It's just literally cutting out the majority of people. That's what they want to do. But I'll end it on that. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.